Subscribe now and press the bell icon. Never miss an update.
Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to KYE or Know Your Entrepreneur. I am your host Trupta Kolgud Nadkarni. This digital platform is so amazing because it gives me a chance to speak to entrepreneurs and listen to their amazing and stories that inspire, that motivate, and I cannot wait to bring it on this platform for everybody to see and to listen. So today I will be speaking with Samantha Reddy, who along with Srinivas Reddy founded Quartzkraft in 2018. They've been entrepreneurs with more than 3 decades of experience in the building product export industry, and they've built quite a track record of manufacturing premium quality products, keeping in mind the quality consciousness, customer-centric approach being the cornerstone of their business. Samantha also co-founded B2B Software Technologies, which spun off 2 successful product companies. She initiated and built ground-up enterprise business solutions and healthcare divisions. She has also won several awards from Microsoft, the President's Club Award, Best Regional Partner South, to name a few. And we can't wait to find out more because it's such an impressive resume and I can only cover so much. So let's find out from Samantha herself. So hi Samantha and welcome to the KYE digital platform. How are you doing today?
I'm good, Trupta. Thank you so much. Yeah, looking forward to interacting with you.
Likewise. So please tell us how this journey started. What was your motivation behind becoming an entrepreneur? And why did you not want to go down the 9-to-5 path? But how did this journey start? We want to hear all about it.
So I'm going to talk about B2B software, which it was an opportunity that actually stumbled into my life. So I have to give you a little background to really get to, why it happened. So I was fighting a life-threatening disease and I was 4 years into it when it was just a regular conversation with my treating doctor, who was a GP in the US, okay. Dr. Nimani. And he just mentioned that he thought that I had the grit and determination to actually take forward a company, and he's happy to be my co-founder. Of course, he's based in the US and a practicing physician, and that completely stunned me. This was in 1999. Okay. So the first thing I said was that, frankly, I don't know much about IT, and the only thing I did was maybe a Java course and a basic C++ course. And he said, you don't need to know anything. You just have to learn from your programmers. Something that I never did, but I did kind of manage the company for close to 11 years, B2B software, which I have co-founded. So I think, just to your point, maybe there are different routes that take you to getting to be an entrepreneur. One could be somebody who really proactively makes that decision. In what happened in my case, it was more like, it's like nature versus nurture, right? So it just happened naturally. And then I nurtured the talents along the way, or the, whatever skills that we required to take that forward. Yep.
So how about Quartzkraft? Like, how did you come up with the name, and, did some thought process go behind it? Or like, how did you come upon it?
So as a family business, we've been in building product materials, natural stone for a long time. Okay. So every time we would approach a customer, since 1990 actually. So every time we would approach a customer in the mid to early 20, this is 2000, they would come back and say, there is this engineered quartz that is being made in China, in Vietnam and Thailand. And it is a man-made series, which completely emulates marble, and it has a lot more qualities. And you can actually design or, customize designs as per, preferences of your end clients. So would you guys be actually would you be able to take it up? So it was actually a kind of a calling from a customer itself, but we really didn't want to get into it till we were very sure that we had a very strong partner, because unlike the regular natural stone, it is technologically enabled, and there is a steep learning curve to it. So we actually tied up with this technology partner who is also our equity partner, and that's how we went forward on that.
Okay, nice. It's very nice and it's unique. So, what is it about this field that gives you a sense of accomplishment or, satisfaction that, not doing 9 to 5, but going down this path as an entrepreneur? Like, what is it about this field?
Okay, so I can talk about B2B first and then Quartzkraft. So I think been with B2B, co-founded the company and managed it for 11 years. And then actually we stepped it out and stepped down to, one of the people we hired, one of our employees now, a present executive director, which is a transition again from being just like a promoter-led company to a professional kind of scenario. So we've created a lot of value for our customers, I would say, because when you did talk about enterprise resource solutions, this is for mostly the MSME companies, right? So we tied up with Microsoft. Previously, it used to be known Navision. It was a Danish company that was acquired by Microsoft in 2005. So we actually provide a kind of, shall I say, a mid-level ERP, not compared to the SAPs of the world, but to companies, and we also had separate verticals, like we had a pharma vertical and a clean energy vertical. So what happens with these companies is actually when they do the digital plumbing or the complete in the enterprise, where they, shall I say, connect all the divisions and they have these end-to-end process control, they actually are able to scale. And in fact, one of our companies, Vinlas, which we had taken as one of our first pharma clients way back, is recently gone IPO and listed in the company with a very good market cap. So they started with our software. So that gives us a lot of, I think when companies actually leverage our technology to grow to the next level and grow more profitable, that's one. And the second is creating careers. When we hire people, whether they are rookies or freshers or, tech functional people who we turn into techno-functional and they build their careers on B2B, that's a lot of satisfaction because you do add a lot of value to people, and especially contribute to their lifelong education.
Absolutely. And I'm sure you have some of them who must be coming back and telling you, thanks to you, I am where I am today. And that gives it a whole new, good feeling or
Yeah, it's nice when they reach out, and it's absolutely very satisfying. So yeah, of course, with entrepreneurship comes a lot of what shall I say? I guess there is a lot of risk in anything that you do in entrepreneurship. It's risk. So initially, if you look at the business model of B2B, when we started, the name B2B is business to business. So we had actually started with the motive of building business to business portals. So if you know a little bit about IT during that time, we had a lot of CMS softwares, content management softwares like Broadvision and Vignette that are doing extremely well. So we wanted to build something on those lines. So we actually built a B2B barter portal, which really absolutely didn't take off in 2000. If you recollect, 2000 was when you had the .com bust.
Correct.
So literally we entered the market a year before we had the .com bust. So that model was busted. Then we looking at consulting and doing, the regular leverage, because, then we had the Y2K problem. So there was a lot of demand for professionals, both in the US and different countries, because everybody was kind of rejigging their software. So that we did with Southeast Asia. We had a company in Malaysia and Singapore. But now that you guys know COVID, you should know that then SARS hit, SARS, which was a pandemic then, but it didn't get to India. So a lot of people don't recollect it. But 2002-03 was really a bad time, and our consulting business literally dissipated overnight, and we had receivables in the market and we had to pull back our customers. And then we had to really look thereon what we could do, what value add could we do? What could we do to build intrinsic value in the company? So we did two things. One is, since my co-founder is a doctor, so basically he gave us the domain knowledge to build an electronic health record in India. So we built a healthcare software in India for the US market. And the second thing we did is the same thing, we kept talking to our marketing people when they would go out, and they said that, companies are asking for something called an ERP. And then we really looked around and said, which is a good ERP? We're talking about in early 2000, like 2003, 4. Yeah. And we couldn't find anything here. When people used to have, in those days, Oracle was very, PeopleSoft, I think before they were acquired by Oracle. So Oracle, PeopleSoft and SAP were very, very, like the large companies, the really large companies used to kind of roll it out with huge budgets. So there was really nothing for a mid-market, mid to like an MSME, mid to medium-sized market, So that's when I remember, so the only way to kind of educate yourself in a new field is to try to go to as many conferences, trade fairs. So we didn't have this internet learning that people have now, right? The internet was still very, very early. Yeah. So you have to actually physically go to so we attended CeBIT, which is one of the largest trade fairs. It's in Hanover every year. Okay. It literally is the largest. It had like 28 halls, like huge halls, like you have in Hightex in Hyderabad, 28 of them with software from across the globe. And we exhibited there under the NASSCOM stall as well. That's when we came across Navision, which is a Danish company. And we really liked the interface, the fact that it was a Scandinavian company, so English was easy because there are a lot of good German softwares and other softwares was always language is a challenge. Yeah. So we tied up with them in 2004 and we started, to take their product to India. And we did the first implementation with Voith, which is VOITH, Voitober in Hyderabad. It's a German engineering company in Nacharam. And Microsoft acquired them in 2005. So I think that was a very good thing for us. Then we came under the fold of Microsoft and then we built a lot of products and IP around it, whether it was horizontal or vertical. So it was a business model that really morphed. I don't think we came into it thinking we would do this. We ended up doing this because of circumstances and we had to reinvent ourselves just to survive. And then we started looking for some domestic product income too. And I remember our first purchase order came from CPCDL, which is the Central Power Distribution Company. It was exactly for 65,000 rupees, but that was such a, shall I say, amazing thing for us because, getting income in the local market or domestic market, that was the first PO I remember we received. And it was no looking back after that.
Absolutely.
So now we have 100 plus clients internationally and domestically, and we have a lot of annuity and repeat income because enterprise resource planning is actually, it's a kind of extended kind of support that we give to all the corporates that we work with. So that worked out good.
I'm pretty sure that first order that you just talked about, that will forever stay with you because, it was so special and it was...
Yeah, it would have 63,000 rupees, but it could have been even 60 lakhs for all you care or whatever more it is. Yeah.
No, but you talked about so many, which kind of ties into my next question, when you started out, were there any challenges, barriers, obstacles? Some of them you just told me right now with SARS hitting and with the Y2K and, everything dissipating and you guys needed to reinvent. Like besides that, were there any other challenges, obstacles, barriers which you had to face when you started? How did you overcome them?
So you look at it two ways. In fact, there was another thing that happened, Enron and WorldCom also, because they both went bust during the same time. So the whole market, the world market actually kind of took, a setback, right? So I think, for example, the Y2K, when we wanted to actually attract talent as a small company, people rather apply for an H1 and go to the US. And anybody with a basic skill who did something even in Ameerpet in a training center was, kind of eligible to go abroad. So that was what our challenge was, to retain talent at that point in time. So we actually then had this program where we actually hired non-IT people, like functional people, and trained them into like techno-functional. So that worked out well. So they were with us for a good amount of time till they added value and they could train the next layer of people. So I think definitely the first thing was really, resources in a service company, resources are the key, right? Unless you have them going and every time we had a downturn, we never used to waste time. We used to always spend it in building the company, like getting our ISO processes in order, getting any certifications done, getting certified for Microsoft so that, we didn't have, so when you're certified for Microsoft and you have certain resources under Microsoft, you get a premium discount on all your, all your licenses that whether you're buying for your Outlook or Exchange or whatever you buy for the company. So, wherever we could, whenever there was a downtime, we always kind of put our heads down on the table and look where we could add value. So whenever we were ready, whenever the market has turned around a little bit, we were back there, capturing the market. So that was, challenges, I guess, in a services company, unlike a manufacturing, your probably your working capital requirements are much lesser. because you can do with rented office and just resources. Like manufacturing, it's very different because you obviously, if you take a factory and you have term loan and you have your liabilities and your interest hits every month at a certain time. So that's an entirely different ballgame, like I've seen later with Quartzkraft. And in COVID times, of course, you've been set back so much by, of course, technicians not able to visit India, even to commission machines, to like the supply chain crisis with logistics worldwide, with the freight rates hitting the ceiling, container availability for exports. Because in the market that we are for, it's 100% export, our company, Quartzkraft. So, well, as all you have to do in an IT company is just upload your, upload your FTP, just file transfer protocol and upload, and just you made your sale. You don't have to worry about whether the ships are sailing or the containers are available. So there is a marked contrast between the two. Yeah.
So, and like you said, COVID was really, nobody had thought that the impacts would be so much, but, I'm sure it took a lot, but it's amazing how you've overcome all that to be where you are today, which kind of...
No, it's still work in progress. I don't think...
Yeah, and I'm sure it'll all be amazing and awesome. We wish you all the very best with that, which, kind of makes me ask you, what is needed from your side at this point to take Quartzkraft to the next level? Like, what are your business aspirations or business goals for Quartzkraft?
So I think a couple of things. I think right now we cater a lot to the US market. We have to look at, looking at, kind of even probably looking at because now we realize the domestic market is really growing and people are willing to pay a premium for a high-end product. So how to build a domestic market? So we have both avenues open, and the government is coming out with this new bill called the DESH. It's the DESH. Okay. I'm really not sure. So this is about, we are in an SEZ. So allowing SEZs to compete equally in the domestic market, because I guess they do want to promote manufacturing even for the domestic market. So that is still work in progress. So we're hoping to leverage that and not only look at export, but look at domestic also to kind of de-risk that or mitigate any risk going forward. Because I think India is going to surpass China next year as the largest population, right? So that's one really. And I think getting a lot, like we've got our NSF certification, which is that for food safety certification, looking to get all our ESG compliances and everything in order, and building on the processes and, enhancing productivity. I think that's the second thing definitely we're looking at. And the third is really building a strong middle management. Because Quartz being kind of a greenfield project, we really don't, when we hire people, we either get them right at the top or we get them as freshers. So really building that core middle management team that can effectively work, and giving them actually specific KRAs. I think these are the three things I think we should be doing. At the same time, keeping your eagle's eye on our costs, because whether it's interest rate. Now, as you see, interest rates are just increasing across the board. They've already increased. Apparently, they're going to increase another few basis points now, 0.5 basis point in the next 1 month is what is expected. Mm-hmm. So that's an increased cost of capital. So, how we can actually leverage that, use our packing credit facilities, reduce our interest, and then leverage the scheme that the government has, which is the MSME. It's called the Interest Subvention Scheme. So export companies can get a 3% credit for their packing credit, shall I say, waiver from the government, because they are trying to promote exports. Looking at the way the rupee is going right now, right? I mean, against the dollar, so it's just going bizarre. So yeah, there are lots of challenges with the Ukraine war and everything, but everything invariably affects us because we do export some to Europe as well. So, we have to see how we can counter that, keep our sales going, make sure that we meet all our obligations and be profitable at the end of the day. Exactly. And of course, and the most important thing, at least for personally, I feel, is even have a social cause for the business, because it's so important for a business to have a social conscious, because it's not really about profits, to see how we can give back to the community in the area that we are and give back to our employees by giving them other benefits, because we are in a semi-urban area in Ongole and Prakasham. That's where our factory is. Okay. So how can we really give back to society through our CSR programs? I think that's something we definitely want to focus on.
Wow, that's amazing. And you have quite a story. So, you talked about hiring people at the middle level. So if somebody is actually looking, so where would be a right place for them to go and get more information? Because, this interview I'm sure lots of people are going to watch it, and if they're really looking to get hired, where can they go and visit to get more information and get in touch with you?
I think we have an Insta link. So I think that's pretty much what we have, because we don't really have a website. We never needed it because we have all our overseas B2B clients. That would be a perfect way to actually get in touch with us. So we also actually, what we do is we take in freshers who are really smart, and actually we try to give them a career path, because we really believe that not only hiring middle management on a lateral level, but actually, kind of progressing people through, once they show loyalty and they show performance, is also a good way to build middle management. So we're doing the combination of the two. But yeah, I think Instagram Quartzkraft is there. So if anybody wants to reach out.
So please take note, viewers and listeners, do find them on Instagram. So, please tell me how this venture has changed you from the time you began till now, because before we started recording the interview, we ended up speaking, and you're so strong and you have such an amazing story, and you were just sharing with me that today marks an important
milestone
in life, a milestone day. So if you could just tell us a bit about it and how this venture has changed you, that would be amazing.
Okay, so basically I just shared, so what I was just sharing with you, that I think I've been very blessed and fortunate. It's been 27 years. In 1995 I was so it's chronic myeloid leukemia. So that's what the diagnosis was, way back then. And it's been quite a journey in 27 years. So a lot of things have reset in my life, and I think it changed my attitude a lot. So I used to be a regular, of course I was, I had my basic degree and my daughter was 3 years old, but I don't think I had very big career aspirations or anything to do. But I think it kind of reset my life, because when you see your mortality in front of you, you kind of make your bucket list. Mm-hmm. So I did make my bucket list, and fortunately I've been able to check off a lot of things. One was going back to, school, and the fact since I got married very young, and I didn't get to do my master's. I got married in my second year of college, and then I had to do my last year in correspondence. It was my university, my commerce degree. So I made sure that I did my GMAT, and I went back and did my Sloan Fellowship in LBS, London Business School, in the year 2000. That's when I quit my job with B2B, and I still retain my interest, but I wanted to make that change. So that was one on my checklist. One was to work for a large corporate, and I did work for Infosys, which is the poster child of Indian startups. I did that for 2.5 years. That was really not my cup of tea. I think I realized I'm more entrepreneurial than professional. So I think that was a lot of realization, but I had to kind of prove it to myself. So I had to do that. Traveling to offbeat places. I'm an avid traveler, and I love traveling. I really don't like to go to the general places people go to. I like to go to different kind of places, learn about culture. I'm a big history buff. I read up a lot about whether it's architecture, or whether it's really the culture, or whether it's even the history of the different regions. And I try to learn a lot before I go. And that is something, and historical genre is what I really like, even reading as a pastime too. So doing that, and so I did check off a lot of things on my box. And I think one thing was very important for me to give back.
Right.
Because I think I've been very fortunate and very grateful that I'm here today talking to you. So when I finished what we call a cytogenetic remission, I started actually with doing cancer awareness programs. I used to go out with a couple of doctors to different workplaces and different places. This is essentially for breast cancer and women, and talk about BSE, which is not the BSE on the stock exchange, but breast self-examination, BSE, and how important it is for women, because breast cancer is one of the most prevalent cancers other than cervical in India. And as a result of that, I got an opportunity to work, to start something called St. Jude's Childcare Center in Hyderabad in 2013. So what we essentially do is we work with pediatric children. So there is an incidence of pediatric cancer in rural areas, and people really don't know what to do when kids actually get pediatric cancer. But there has been a study that says that a third of the kids get something called ALL, which is acute lymphoblastic leukemia, which has a very good prognosis if treated well. Okay. So what we essentially do is we provide a home away from home for these kids and parents who come for treatment to hospitals, because what happens is the entire kind of duration of the treatment is around 4 to 5 months. So one month is usually inpatient, and a lot of parents abandon treatment because they don't have a place to stay in large metros, or they have malnutrition, or they succumb to other secondaries, and they don't have a clean hygiene place to stay. So we at St. Jude's actually, we provide a home away from home, a place of joy and happiness for these kids and parents. That entire 4-5 months stay, so that they finish their treatment and they go back. So in Hyderabad, our center opened in 2014, and we've had probably 500 to 600 families so far. And now we have something called phase 2, which is St. Jude's for Life, because a lot of kids have finished at 5 years. So always in cancer treatment, 5 years is a very big benchmark, because there's a good chance that it won't relapse or you won't have a remission.
Right.
So post that, looking at their career, counseling them. Some get married, some have children. So it's really nice to see how can we help them the second half after the 5 years, the next part of their life, because once they're out of their medical issues, because it is quite tough to deal with cancer, because, in society also, people think, first of all, we started with, at least I think, hopefully now people are much better educated, but whether it's cancer is actually treatable, whether it's transferable from person to person by touch, or these kind of really stupid. So I think from that we've come a long way, and so that's so giving back to society, giving back with a social cause is something I really encourage anybody to do, because it gives you a sense of being and a sense of satisfaction and a sense of, shall I say, contentment that is unmatched by anything, no matter what we do in business, whatever profits we get or whatever we get, just, having a smile on this child's face, seeing the parents have good sleep, without, good peaceful nights of sleep, is something we really, really gives us a lot of happiness.
Amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, you truly are an inspiration, and you're a fighter, because, I'm sure it was not easy, but you fought, and now you're giving back to the society. So definitely thank you for that, and you definitely are an inspiration. So what would you like to say to the upcoming and budding entrepreneurs, because some of them have an idea, but they may not be so sure how to start or what's the first step. So some advice or some words of wisdom for them.
I think now more than ever, I think a lot of colleges, if I'm not wrong, have incubation cells where you can actually work in a protected environment with a safety net, because you have probably professors involved. Maybe you have investors who can be lined up by your college faculty to come and pick some good business models. So that, so it's good. And if you want to start early and try to do it with a cohort that can help you, that can actually, that you have a team, whether it's your friends or classmates or someone that you can have as a promoter team. Because I think in entrepreneurship, it's very important to know how you know yourself first, so that you can find people to complement your skills. Because not everyone will have every skill. Like I may be a macro person, you probably need a micro person to actually get into the detail. So 2 people making, or 2-3 people making, going forward in an entrepreneurial venture. So building your team in that way and having resources to help you. If you really have it in mind. If it comes later as an outcome, like it came for me, it was just an opportunity that, somebody saw the fact that I fought my cancer or whatever, and saw my grit and determination, and decided that I could take up anything and go through with it. So when opportunities come, taking that leap of faith, I think very, very important, because I think sometimes we let opportunities pass us by, but the guilt of it passing by is far higher than the guilt of actually having done it, and then if you make a mistake, so sometimes you have to weigh out what your possibilities are and what your chances are, and sometimes take a leap of faith and just do things when they come your way. I think that's something. And nature versus nurture, I personally feel like, if you ask me whether I had this by nature, no, I'm a very risk-averse person. I don't think I had the skills to really take up entrepreneurship. Maybe life taught me those lessons. Probably the cancer also taught me that, you have to fight, and, and it's not easy. Life is not easy, number one. Life throws you lots of curveballs. Business does too. Suddenly there'll be some strike on transporters. You won't get raw material. You'll have a client order ready. I mean, tons of things come your way, right? I mean, could be banking facility. So really, how you can handle these curveballs and what you can actually do with it, and how can you get stronger, and how can you use each of these opportunities to get stronger as a company, to get stronger as a team, to reset yourself and reinvent yourself for the different markets, because times are changing and it's so volatile at this point in time. So all these skill sets are something probably I imbibed at a very fast track or a very fast rate because I had to face a life-threatening disease, and probably those skills helped me in my entrepreneurship. So people can inherently have it, people can learn it, but people can work with people who can complement them on the skills. Maybe like if you're not as risk averse, but you have a partner who can take that with the logical dimension, then working with them. So there could be several permutations and combinations, and I think there is nothing like a single rule fits all really. So it's, but I think where there is a will, there is a way. And I really believe when one door closes, the other opens. You just have to look for it, and look for it really hard sometimes.
Exactly.
So, yeah, and I think necessity is the mother of invention. When you need something, you will do it. It's just, yeah. And I think our minds are so strong. I think we underestimate our potential. I think we just have to look deeper and look within, and you'll be surprised what we can come up with.
Absolutely.
Each one of us, really. So
great, thank you. Those are some great words and some amazing advice. I'm sure people who are watching and listening will definitely remember. Thank you, Samantha, for speaking with us, giving us your time on this KYE digital platform. It was a pleasure speaking with you. And once again, we want to wish you and Quartzkraft all the very best for the future. And thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.